And so we go.
Yeah, I'm Vaughn Walden. A little bit about myself. I come from rural Montana. I went to a 3-room schoolhouse, but I progressed to get a bachelor's degree in physics at Utah State and a master's and PhD in geophysics from the University of Washington. I'm an atmospheric scientist, and in fact, I study polar atmospheres. I have been on 6 field experiments to Antarctica. I've stood at the South Geographic Pole. I've conducted an experiment at the height of the Greenland ice sheet since 2010. And in 2015, I participated in an international project with the Norwegians, led by the Norwegian Polar Institute, where we worked actually on Arctic sea ice. So I feel fairly uniquely qualified to comment on some of these, the science part of these standards. I also taught at the University of Idaho for 11 years, where I led a large National Science Foundation project called Water Resources in a Changing Climate, where we looked at the effects of potential climate change on the water resources in the state of Idaho. And so I do feel that it's, this is an important issue. Potential climate change is an important issue for Idaho. I now teach at WSU, where I'm involved in both climate change research as well as air quality research. The science is not political. And so there seems to be, in some of the responses to this, there seems to be a kind of a political bent to this. But I want to iterate that climate change is not political. We use the scientific method to understand the world, and we, as scientists, are naturally skeptical, and we naturally let the numbers speak for themselves. How humans respond to the science of climate change is inherently political. What we do as a society and how we respond, what trajectories we take as a society to deal with the problems that we're dealt, that science tells us about, is definitely political. So in my opinion, it seems extremely political that these particular 5 were removed. That seems like a political statement, not one that is based on science. And so when I look through these standards, let me just read. Examples of factors include human activities such as fossil fuel combustion, cement production, and agricultural activity. Yes, those are, in my professional opinion, are human-caused things that impact climate. We unequivocally know that now. And then in here it says natural processes, such as incoming solar radiation and volcanic activity. Those too affect climate change. So in my opinion, this seems quite balanced between anthropogenic or human-caused changes and things that happen naturally. So I don't necessarily agree with the criticisms that these are biased towards the things that humans do that are bad to climate. Secondly, the standard on weather and climate says current models predict that, and then ... Current models do predict that if we continue to introduce carbon dioxide into the atmosphere without making substantial changes soon, we are subjecting future generations, especially our grandchildren, not so much our children, the next generation, but the generation following that and the generation after that. If we do not act now, those generations will suffer far, far more than we are now. This is a long time scale thing. It's what we do today, the carbon that I burned to get here from Moscow today is in the atmosphere for 100 years. And those molecules affect climate right now. So what we do today is going to take a long time to get back out of the system. And so what the climate models are telling us are really one of our best tools. And they've been quite accurate, in fact, at projecting what will happen. So it's incumbent on us to give our children, who are going to be making the decisions of the future, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that they get the scientific training, the proper scientific training. Not political training necessarily, but the proper scientific background to move forward in the future. Thank you.